Today, we need to talk about the tragedy in Frisco and how it has exposed real bigotry and has just widened the racial gap in America, and the advice from the one gentleman that everyone needs to listen to and adhere to. Okay, guys, welcome back to the show. Carlton Flowers here with the Go Political channel, and we've got a tough topic of conversation today that we need to talk about. And I'm going to share some clips from a YouTuber who I have a lot of respect for, who was totally sold up the river, and just the reaction to his report, which I found to be very well balanced and very fair, and the treatment he got, it's just a shock. It's very sad. I'm going to show some clips from the one gentleman that everybody needs to just stop what they're doing and stop what they're saying and listen to. Take notes, write it down, learn from, and really hear this man, because right now nobody is listening. And then I'm going to share with you a reaction from a well-known mouthpiece on X, a conservative that said something pretty shocking that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way that I didn't care for too much. So what's going on? Well, of course, we've got the news. It's been a few days, a couple days now, about the tragedy that happened in Frisco, where an overreaction of all individuals involved ended with someone losing their life. And so there's, right off the bat, let me just tell you this, there's no winners in this situation. There's no taking sides in this, because everyone loses in this situation, okay? We've got a situation that was handled wrong by one side, and a reaction that was wrong on the other side to make a perfect storm where everyone lost, okay? And I'm going to talk about who I think failed this young man that lost his life. It's so sad. I'm going to tell you all of the people that I think have failed this young man, and those who failed the young man whose life will be forever changed, who is currently sitting in prison right now. We're going to cover all of that, well balanced. But I just wanted to let you know that there's no winners here. There's no picking sides, but we are going to talk about the horrendous reactions by a lot of people. And I'm thinking I'm going to get roasted in the comments for giving a balanced view from this. There's going to be people for and against what I'm saying. And I don't look forward to reading the comments, but I do hope that you have some compassion as we're all trying to work our way through this, because I do feel so heartbroken for the twin who's left here on this earth. I have a brother I lost. I know how it feels. And he was a year older than me, but we were like twins in every way, shape, and form. And it's been, oh man, I lost count, 35 years since I lost him. 30 years. I don't even know. I don't want to know, because I don't want to bring it all back. But he's with me every day in spirit and with me in every dream that I have. So I know how hard it is for this young man, what he's facing, living the rest of his life without a twin. And I'm also heartbroken for the young man who's sitting in jail with a $1 million bond. And we'll talk about that too. But there's false reports being spread. There's stories going around on both sides. One side is defaming the individual who did the act, and the other side is trashing the individual who lost his life. And it's just so ridiculous, and people need to stop. They just need to stop. There's not very much balanced reporting going on, because everything I've seen from the media is one-sided. Of course, we came right out the box and we saw interviews from the twin. We saw interviews from the father that I greatly respect. But there were no interviews of the other young man involved. There was no interviews given by the family. So that was kind of interesting. And I immediately reacted one way upon seeing the news stories. And then after digging into this a little bit deeper, I thought, all right, this is not what I thought. This is just truly a tragedy all across the board, but it's not what I originally thought. I didn't understand what really happened, and who can? Do you know the people personally? Were you there? A lot of people are spouting off at the mouth. Everyone has an opinion and telling their stories of what they heard from one person passing on a story to another, but they don't know any of these individuals. But everyone's an expert. So I'm going to share with you real quick a couple clips from a video put out there by ABL, Anthony Brian Logan, who I'm a big fan of. And Anthony Brian Logan, if you don't know him, he's very conservative. He was a liberal and then he switched, and he is a staunch Republican conservative. I'm very conservative, but I don't claim the party, and I'm going to get into why. I won't go all in. You'll understand once we get into this, but let's see here. Let me jump over, and I apologize. This is not rehearsed. I just want to kind of get through this and just get the point of what's going on here. So I'm going through my notes. There we go. ABL video. I'm going to put this up here. So let's jump to his YouTube, and I'll leave a link so you can watch this whole show, and I want you to watch it in full length so that nothing is taken just out of context. So let's jump here and let's just listen. I'm going to cut the mic off, and I'm going to play a couple clips of what ABL said. There's two different sections of the video that I want to share. One is at the 7-minute 53 mark, and the other is at 11:46. So here's the first clip. Here we go. All right.
I'm sitting under a tent at a high school track meet because it's raining. There's no assigned seats at a high school track meet. If you come up to me and tell me to move, you're trying to bully me. I say, hey, don't touch me. I'm reaching in the bag. Don't touch me. That's a warning right there. You know I got something, and you probably with your brother, your twin brother, and some other guys. I'm not trying to get beat up, jump. Don't touch me. He touches him. That's strike one. Hey, don't do it again. He does it again. Strike two. Now the fight happens. Some are going to say, well, look, ABL, don't you think that was over the top? Shouldn't have just been a regular fist fight? Well, we could say that, sure. We could say it was over the top, absolutely. But guess what? If you don't touch me, if you respect my wishes to not be touched, then this doesn't happen. As simple as that. It's very simple. And you know what? I've said the same thing before. Matter of fact, we get back to the video in a minute, but remember this from 2023? I posted this September 30th, 2023.
Okay, we're going to stop there and we're going to jump forward here to the next clip I want to share at the 11-minute and 46-second mark. Let's see, 11:46-ish, and here we go.
You cannot put your hands on people. You can't do it. We could say that it was an overreaction, and you're right about that. But I was always taught, hey, if you pick a fight with somebody, if you touch somebody first, then you can't really dictate or regulate the way that they react to you. Keep your hands to yourself. That should be the lesson here. And I know people are not going to like that, but it's the truth. Same thing I said with the case in the mall. Okay, stop harassing people. Get out of my face. Leave me alone. I'm trying to leave. I'm giving you warnings. You're not leaving me alone. Okay, now the gun comes out. Some say it was over the top, but the jury of his peers said it was okay because they let him beat the case. That's kind of what happens. And then some are going to say that I'm defending this guy because he's black. Meanwhile, I defended Daniel Penny. And the Daniel Penny case was actually worse because Jordan Neely didn't attack anybody. He was just menacing like he was going to attack somebody. I said that Daniel Penny is a hero because he came in and restrained him to prevent him from crashing out, which he had done before. And unfortunately, Jordan Neely died, but that was not Daniel Penny's fault. The same way that if we get into a fight and then somebody gets hurt, it's not my fault if I was the one who was aggressed upon first. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you?
Okay, so there you have it. Now, my shock, I'll tell you what, my jaw hit the floor. I watched this and I was like, okay, I agreed with what he said. It is a tragedy all around, and it was an overreaction on the part of Karmelo. But everything Anthony Brian Logan said, pretty much that stands true in most of these situations. And he laid out a couple of examples, but suddenly people flip and they don't like what he said about this situation. And when you go to the comment section, oh man, these people went nuts on him. Now, here's the funny thing about it. ABL is one of those YouTubers that white people love, white conservatives. Okay, there's a handful of commentaries out there, YouTubers that are black, that 95% of their audience is white because they feed them stuff that conservative white people just love because the black person gets away with saying the things that they're not able to say. Now, ABL is definitely not as bad as most of the others, and I think this is just a straight up guy. ABL just speaks his mind, and sometimes he will dissent from what white conservative America wants him to believe. And this is one of the biggest examples of when white America left him high and dry and sold him up the river, and they came out of the woodworks overwhelmingly, just roasted him for what he said in this video. And the comments in here, I'm like, okay, why is it that I'm looking at 99% of these white people all saying the same thing, and ABL, who you all love and trust so much, and now y'all are just completely roasting him, completely have jumped off his bandwagon and are all upset straight down the line. I will have to read more of these comments because I'm not finding, look at this, ABL 100% wrong. This is what every one of these comments are saying. I haven't found a white person yet in this comment section that agrees with what ABL said. Now, when you see that, then that gets you to scratching your head and wondering, why is it that nearly 100% of the white conservatives are disagreeing with him on this? When ABL, you know that he is one that has defended caring, defending yourself, stand your ground, and they have loved him for that. Standing up for the NRA, all of that, and then all of a sudden, you see this. So that is rather interesting. Now, some of you might say, well, no, he's wrong, and you disagree. Well, let me show you the next extreme example here, and this is just, I'm sorry, but this is where I part ways with white conservatives like this. Holy smokes. I'm going to go to X here. This is Matt Walsh. Am I a racist? Well, I would say no, he's not a racist, but he is a bigot. 3.6 million followers. So let's look at what he posted, and I'm going to show you how this is like not fair. This is definitely, you just tell me what you think. So look what he posted here. Thousands of people in the black community have rallied around Karmelo Anthony and have given over $160,000 to his family as a reward for murdering a white kid. You're a bigot, dude. Why would you take a situation like this and twist it and make a statement that is obviously untrue? They raised the money because this boy is in jail and there is a $1 million bond. So for him to bond out, he needs $100,000. So he's going to need more than $160,000 just to get bailed out so he doesn't sit in jail until the trial. And he's going to have massive attorney's fees. They're not raising that money as a reward for murdering a white kid. And so for Matt Walsh to say that, he's just pouring gasoline on the fire because he wants this to be a racial issue. Hold that thought, because I'm going to get to something that I'm going to address that. So you go on, now look at this, 100,000 plus raised for Austin's killer. And he just doubles down. He just dives in on this. And then here, look at this. We come on down and he admits that he pissed off a lot of people with a statement that he made. All right. And then let me see if I can find it. Here it is. A lot of people are very upset with this tweet, which is why I'll be going to even more detail on this point on my show today. I'd love to hear what he has to say. So here's the tweet that he made. If I told you that a young man stabbed another man to death for telling him that he was in the wrong seat, and then I told you that the one man in the altercation was white and the other black, and then I asked you to guess the race of the assailant, every single person would know the answer immediately. Young black males are violent to a wildly outrageous, disproportionate degree. That's just fact. We all know it. And it's time that we speak honestly about it, or nothing will ever change. I'm going to tell you what. So I'm very conservative, right? I'm very right-leaning, but I don't get on board with this. I'm not on the bandwagon with you, Matt Walsh. You are not on my team. That's where I draw the line right there, and you're on the other side of it, buddy. Okay, born and raised in Chicago, South Side, and my Chicago people and Dalton people, you better be showing up in the comments to defend me. Okay, you better have my back. All right. So we moved to the country in Missouri, Holt Summit, Missouri, outside of Jefferson City when I was in grade school. And it was like living in Selma, Alabama in the 50s, in the 60s, okay? I've been called every N-word, saucer lips, porch monkey, go back to Africa. I've been beat up, picked on, spit on, harassed. I've had it all. I've had teachers telling N-word jokes in the classroom, okay? Okay, but I have thick skin. I mean, I'm the last person that you're going to find who's going to sit around and say, well, America's racist and we're downtrodden and I need DEI so I can make it. I'm not the one. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm above that. You can't stop me, spitting on me, calling me names, throwing rocks at me, beating me up, in junior high and high school. I stood my ground. I mean, they were beating on me, but I didn't get, totally, I didn't lose the fights. You can't stop me. And I don't need DEI. I don't need affirmative action. I don't need reparations, even though reparations, I have a video I'm going to do on that where they're still overdue for reparations to the black community because we give it to everybody else but the blacks, but I'm not holding my breath. But I don't need it. Okay? I'm not complaining. I'm fine. I'm successful. I own 5 businesses. And here's the thing. I'm smarter than that. Okay? I'm not a victim. I'm sorry. I'm not a victim. But Matt Walsh, I'm not on your bandwagon either. I think you're a bigot. And this is a bunch of bull crap that you posted here on Twitter. And for everyone else posting stuff like this and having this attitude, I'm not with you. Megyn Kelly, sorry, I'm not with you on this one. I was watching The Black Authority with Jason Black last night, and I had to call into the show. I got on the show. I dare you to go watch the full 2 or 3 hour episode. And if you are a white conservative that is saying stuff and has this viewpoint like Matt Walsh, go listen to The Black Authority, the full 3 hours, and then you'll have a little bit more understanding where he's going to report a lot of forensics that the white media is not given to you. You know how conservatives complain about how the leftist media lies constantly and doesn't tell the truth, which they don't? Well, the right does it too sometimes. And Megyn Kelly and some of the folks on the other side don't like to admit it when they do the same thing. They don't do it near to a degree of like BSNBC and ABC, always bullcrap news. They're not CNN, all right, Comedy News Network, but they are guilty. They don't tell the truth all the time. They like to push the narrative to their advantage. And none of this tragedy was reported in a fair way. All right, so let's jump off of that. Now I'm going to move to the next part here. I'm going to go to, let's see here. I want to go to a couple clips. I'm going to just give you 3 quick clips from the gentleman that everyone needs to listen to. I don't care what your position is on this, for, against, throw the man in jail, or boy, he's a boy. Throw the boy in jail forever, give him the end his life penalty, or if you think that the Twins were being bullies. Everyone needs to listen to this man, and he has a right to speak. All right? And has the best advice of anyone. And so we're going to listen to what he has to say, and then I'm going to tell you about who failed us and why this should have never, ever happened. So let me see here. I got to go to my notes. I'm going to show you a couple interesting clips from the first video, and then we're going to get to the thing that's going to bring it all home. Okay, but first, let's start at the 1 minute 43 second mark of this video. And then I'm going to fast forward a little bit and show you something he said at the end. And I have so much respect for this man, but listen to this.
So, I've already forgiven the person who stabbed him. God's going to take care of everything. God's taking care of my son. I kissed him. When I kissed him goodbye for the last time, I told him it's not goodbye, it's see you later.
Okay, that's phenomenal. He said he's already forgiven Karmelo for what happened. And he said he kissed his son goodbye and he'll see him later. And it's because this is a man of very strong faith. I mean, I was blessed listening to this man. Did he say anything about black and white? Huh? Did he? Let's go to the end of this video here. Hang with me here because what he says in this next video, it's going to bring the house down. So we're going to go to the 1250 point. This is a good little spot here, and I'm going to go to the next video. All right, here we go.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good idea. GoFundMe. I'll probably have someone set that up, and prayers. I believe I'm heavy in faith, and we just pray that this doesn't happen again to someone else. Unfortunately, I get to be the example. But, we have to try to turn negatives into positives. And he was a great kid, and he impacted a lot of lives. I'll never forget him, and neither will a lot of other people. So, community-wise, talk to your kids, teach your kids. It all starts at home. I know this world has changed. I'm old school, and it's a different world. It's unfortunate, but we all have to evolve. And if we all don't come together, black, white, yellow, brown, I don't care. It's all about human beings.
Now, can you believe what you just heard there? We all have to come together. He's being the example. He's being the example. And he's saying that we all have to come together. We all have to do better. And that he's willing to be the example. This is a man of faith, guys. All right, let's get to the clip that this ends it all. All right. And this is what everybody needs to listen to and focus on, and what the majority of the right-wing white folks who just, I was going to say MURDERED Anthony Brian Logan. I don't want to say the word and get demonetized. The ones who just completely sold Anthony Brian Logan up the river. They sold him quick. They turned on him real quick. But all of those people who are reading ABL, the Riot Act, and for all of the Matt Walshes out there who are making these bigoted statements, here, listen to this. Here we go. Listen and take notes.
But we just informed you about these documents. And
that doesn't change anything. Okay. This has to do with me and God. God teaches us in the Bible. He talks about forgiveness. He also talks about revenge. Not for me to seek. God will take care of it. Karma, I believe in it. It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know, they weren't there. I know the truth. So.
Boom. Some of y'all need to play that back again. Matt Walsh and all the rest of y'all need to play this video and listen to what he just said and stop it. turning this into a racial issue, turning this into a political issue is wrong. The fact that the majority of the opinions for one side are all on this political party and the majority of the opinion of the other side are mostly in this political party is disgusting, and we should all be ashamed of ourselves. And we should all listen to what this man said. I'm more impressed by this guy than all of the rest of the Caucasians who are going bananas all over social media. Listen to your white Caucasian brother right here. Listen to what he just said and do what he said. You don't have a right to say the crap that you're saying when this man lost his son and he can say what he just said. So all of that just needs to stop. Now, again, as I said before, there's just no winners in this situation, and we do have to do better. We have to teach our kids, and my heart breaks for not only, I told you that my heart breaks for his family, but my heart also breaks for Karmelo's family. I mean, it's just really sad. I hate that he has to go through what he's going through, and most of you won't understand that because you weren't the ones that had bricks, rocks thrown at you, being beat up, being threatened. I had a knife pulled on me because I was black going to a school party and someone was saying, we don't want your kind in the party. This is not meant for your kind. A knife pulled on me. And so back in my day, white people used to really go out of their way to let me know that you are not allowed in certain areas. In the cafeteria, on this hill where a bunch of people parked. It was called Goat Roper Hill, and black people weren't allowed to step foot. They would run you over. We were threatened. Our lives were threatened where we're not allowed to be there. And I kind of wonder if there was with the reaction to him sitting in this section and then him popping off and his ego showing, which added fuel to the fire. I kind of wonder, is this a sundown town? I'm going to ask my brother-in-law, my daughter who live in the Dallas area, what's up with this town? I would just like, I'm wondering what is the racial, what is the whole mix racially, and then what are the attitudes of the people that are there? I just hate that he had brought a knife to a track meet, even though he had a right to do that. I don't teach my kids that. None of my kids went to school with knives. And even though I went through everything I went through, I didn't go to school with a knife. I don't carry a gun because, I don't have it in me to do that. I mean, I would just walk away, And if I got to defend myself with these, like you remember in the movie, was it on Next Friday or which one was it where Smokey's dad is telling him that, back in the old days, you solve your problems with these, not with these. Okay, so that's what I am. I'm old school. And so that's why I'm just so sad that this ended like this. And so on the one hand, he shouldn't have brought that knife to school. And on the other hand, they shouldn't have been so cocky to try to force him out of that tent, not knowing what kind of a person that he was. They didn't know. They said that they did not know him. So who failed here? Who failed? Why did this situation get even happen? Well, I'll tell you who failed. First of all, the staff and the coaches failed because they should have handled the situation right away. The parents who were in the stands, they failed. I haven't heard anything about them stepping in when the conflict happened. Where was security? Security failed. Okay, so there's a downpour, there's rain, everybody's running for tents. So obviously you got a chance of somebody from an opposing team sitting in the wrong tent. You got a chance for a black person sitting with some white people because we're all people and just want to be out of the storm. But where was security? Where were the coaches? Where were the parents? And the school officials, you failed. Why are we allowing people to bring weapons into a stadium for a track meet? And here's a question. Why is it that a black student would even feel it necessary to have to bring a knife in? Kind of tells me that situations get dicey in this town. If you're thinking, I need to be able to guard my life by going to a track meet, so I better have a weapon in case I get jumped. And some of you might say, no, that's just not possible. He was probably a hoodlum and, he went in there and did that on purpose. Okay, I've been to many football games and events where we did have to think, okay, guys, we got to be careful because it could be very dangerous for us to be here, because back in my day, yeah, there was some heinous things that were done. I had a friend who nearly got beaten to the point of entering the pearly gates of heaven, and it was awful. And it was over something stupid because some white student didn't want the black student in a certain area. And so that kind of stuff happens. And so maybe if there was an expectation of that, maybe that's why. Still no justification for doing that. His parents should have been on top of the situation. Man, there's just no way. I got 2 boys and I got 2 girls. They don't pack, they don't carry. They don't. And I never would have allowed one of my kids. And I don't think that even when they were in situations in school, they were taught to walk away. And both of my sons, they're like, both of them played football. One of them squats like 500-600 pounds. I mean, they could pummel anyone. They're not scared of anyone. But they're not going to be dumb enough to think that they need a weapon and that they would end a life to get out of a situation. And they're also not going to let their ego get out of control to a point where you would have a conflict where something this awful could happen. So it's pretty sad. So there's really no answer. There's no stance. There's no taking sides. It's terrible across the board, and my heart breaks for everyone. And I really feel for that boy not having his twin brother, because like I said, I lost a brother and I know what it feels like. It's really, really sad. It's really sad. But this will give you a little insight on how I feel on certain issues when I am not on the same team with white conservative America. And before all you black people say, oh yeah, tell him something. Oh no, hold on a minute. Hold on. It's the same thing on the other side, because whenever I dare say something positive about the conservatives, or if I dare say something about voting for Donald Trump, holy mackerel, the black community, man, y'all come out the woodworks. I get called every name under the book. And you know what black people call each other when we don't stick to the Democratic Party line? So a lot of y'all are just as bad. And here I sit, an independent person who's not afraid to speak my mind and stand on what I believe in. But people on both sides get all butthurt and they can't handle it if I dare express an opinion that doesn't match their own, instead of saying, I respectfully disagree. So, that's all. This is not going to get solved. We are going to have to pray. We are going to have to listen to this man and take his advice. It's the only way that we get through this. And this should not end up being the racial political thing that it's about to turn into. That's all that I got for this video. Sorry I had to report about this, but we needed to have this talk. Let me know if you want me to hit other subjects like this or talk about more racial issues, because it's actually an area of expertise. I'm an expert in diversity, so let me know. Let me know. That's all I got. This is Carlton. I'm out.